The room was filled with the soft flicker of candlelight, casting long shadows on the walls as King Shahryar sat in silence, reflecting on the tales that had passed. Yet again, Shahrazada's voice broke the stillness, drawing his mind from the weight of her previous stories to another world, a world where magic and mystery intertwined.
O king, I now bring you the tale of an enchanted ring, a ring that bestowed unimaginable power on its wearer but at a terrible price. It is a story of desire, greed, and the consequences of seeking to control that which should remain free. Long ago, in a distant land, there was a kingdom ruled by a noble and wise monarch named Jamal. His reign was known for peace and prosperity, and his people adored him. Yet, despite his great fortune, there was one thing that the king longed for above all others: eternal life. King Jamal's quest for immortality began innocently enough, with the study of ancient texts and the search for legendary potions and elixirs. But as the years went on, his obsession deepened. He sought counsel from sorcerers and wise men, traveled to distant lands, and explored forgotten ruins. And then, one day, he discovered an ancient ring that was said to have the power to grant eternal life. The ring, however, was no ordinary piece of jewelry. It was said to be cursed, crafted by a powerful sorcerer from the farthest reaches of the East. Its magic was as dark as it was potent. The ring had the power to extend the life of its wearer, but each year it stole a part of their soul. The longer the ring was worn, the more the wearer would lose, until they became little more than a hollow shell of their former self. But King Jamal, blinded by his desire to live forever, did not heed the warnings. He placed the ring upon his finger, and in that moment, he felt an immense power surge through his body. His hair darkened, his skin became more youthful, and his strength increased. He believed that he had found the secret to life eternal. For many years, King Jamal ruled over his kingdom with unparalleled wisdom and might. He outlived his advisors, his enemies, and his allies. His fame spread far and wide, and he became a legend, a king who never aged, a ruler who never faltered. But as the years wore on, Jamal began to feel a growing emptiness inside him. His body remained young, but his soul withered. He began to forget the faces of those he had once loved, the laughter of his children, and the joy of his youth. One day, as he gazed into the mirror, King Jamal saw something that terrified him. His eyes, once bright and full of life, had become cold and lifeless. His reflection stared back at him, but it was not the king he had once known. He had become a stranger to himself, and the emptiness inside him grew to a vast, consuming void. Desperate to reverse the effects of the ring, Jamal sought out the sorcerer who had forged it, hoping to find a way to remove the curse. The sorcerer, an old man who lived in a remote cave at the edge of the kingdom, looked upon Jamal with pity. "You fool," the sorcerer said. "The ring is not just a gift, it is a trap. Once worn, it cannot be removed. The price of immortality is not just the body, it is the soul, and you have given yours away. The longer you wear it, the less of yourself you will become." But Jamal refused to accept his fate. He begged the sorcerer for a solution, offering his wealth and power in exchange for a cure. The sorcerer, seeing the depth of Jamal's despair, gave him a final warning. The only way to free yourself from the ring's grip is to pass it on to another someone who is worthy of its power. But know this, to pass the ring on is to condemn another to the same fate you now suffer. In his desperation, Jamal decided that he would do anything to free himself. He called upon his most trusted advisor, Omar, a man who had served him loyally for many years. Omar, who had always admired the king, eagerly accepted the king's request to take the ring, but as he placed the ring upon his finger, he, too, felt the power surge through him. For a time, Omar flourished. He became more powerful, more intelligent, and more capable than any man in the kingdom. But like Jamal before him, Omar began to feel the darkness growing within him. His soul began to wither, his memories faded, and he became distant from those he loved. He realized that he, too, had been trapped by the ring's curse, just as the king had been, and so the ring passed from one to another, each man seeking immortality, each man losing his soul. The enchanted ring, once a symbol of power and ambition, became a reminder of the price one must pay for seeking to control life itself. The kingdom that had once thrived under King Jamal's rule eventually fell into ruin, as the rulers who came after him were little more than hollow shadows of their former selves, their souls consumed by the magic of the cursed ring. And so, O king, the lesson is clear. That which is too precious, too sought after, may carry with it a price too steep to pay. Sometimes the true gift lies not in eternal life, but in the fleeting beauty of the life we live.
When Scheherazade heard the rooster crow, she decided to stop telling stories. Shahryar smiled and realized that Scheherazade would not tell any more. Of course, he had a new date the next night to continue enjoying the stories of his beautiful wife, Scheherazade. The room fell into a deep silence as the tale concluded, the weight of immortality's curse lingering in the air.